games or anything, or at least be professionally ever even dreamed about being in Hall of Fame. We did it because we loved it. And I think that's the thing I would tell any young, boy or girl or man or woman, whoever, and you play multiple sports, play the one you love. That's the one you're going to get the most satisfaction at, not necessarily the one you're best at, but enjoy the process, enjoy the moment. And I think that's what I look back on it. And it's, quite an honor, as you said, to go in with so many great athletes that have been in this state, to think that my name's up there, just a small part of that. So it just was really special. And then to have my family there made it all, all those times I was away from home, and it was just a great weekend.
Yes, and I need to mention, Sissy, your wife has been on our show before, and she's a 12-time Mississippi State Amateur Champion, and she was inducted in 2019 into the Mississippi Hall of Fame. She was an inductee. Listen, we are up against the clock. Our very special guest has been 5-time PGA Tour winner Jim Gallagher. Check him out on the Golf Channel. Listen, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll reconvene in 2023.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on today.
You bet. Stick around. Much more coming your way at Sports Map Radio Network. We will be right back after this quick break.
Mile High Sports is KQKS HD3 Lakewood, 98.1 K251 CV Golden, and streaming 24/7 at milehighsports.com.
Now it's our turn to, sorry for the words, but put our balls on the table.
Remember, kids, this is not how you play hockey. It's just ugly.
I like it.
Screw you guys. I'm doing this.
You know what? I love ice cream, too.
Go back to Canada, Guy Lafleur.
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Hello, and welcome into the Hockey Show. This is Ryan Boulding. I rarely am the host of the Hockey Show, but this week I'm here. JJ, he's been sent down on reassignment. Today I'm joined by Jesse Montaño of DNVR. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, pinch hitting, or are we just going to replace JJ full time for thinking he has the audacity to take a vacation in the middle of the season?
Yeah, exactly that. I know it's holiday time. He wanted to be somewhere warm, so he ditched. He's not even doing it remote. He's probably not even listening.
I was going to say, I doubt he's even tuning in to listen, and that's the most upsetting part for me.
Right, but that gives me the opportunity to be joined by you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you know what? Let's forget about JJ for a while. I'm just happy to be here with you, Ryan. We always have such great chats at the rink, so I'm happy to be here. More than happy to be here.
Yeah, we do have good chats at the rink. Yeah. It's sometimes it's hard to replicate it because we don't have like a topic necessarily happening right in front of us, but we get along good, so this should be good. And I think if Danny's ready, we've got a little comments from Jared Bednar about JJ's. Let's call it a conditioning stint down in Miami.
When we talked to Jared about the fact that, I'll be stepping in on Saturday, this is
about the message he gave to JJ.
Right. He has his message. I'm not going to share it with you. He's got a clear message on what he needs to do. Yeah.
So that is strong words.
It's clear,
JJ, think about it. Think about the message and what you need to do to come back.
Look, Jared doesn't need to go around repeating it to everyone. JJ knows. JJ's got a lot to think about while he's on vacation. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he likes to keep it in-house.
Right.
Some discretion. Yep. So before we get into it, though, we always talk about matinee money. We actually have some matinee games today, and taking a look at them. I threw a couple bets down. Like I say, occasionally, I don't like to throw out bets that I wouldn't put my money behind because I'm not getting paid by anybody to let you throw your money away. But I took a little sim game parlay. I took Dallas money line against Ottawa, which I already don't feel good about this bet because I feel like this is a game that can go either way. But I took Dallas money line, odd number of goals in the first period, which is a new one for me, and Jason Robertson to score anytime at plus 360.
That's a great one.
Yeah, the odds are up there, so it's I think the odd part is going to be the hardest part. I have faith in Robertson. I don't have faith in Dallas necessarily because Ottawa is such a wild card.
Right. So not to derail us while you're not even all the way through all of your picks yet, but so you texted me saying, hey, if you have some picks, if you like some matinee, it's like, all right, twist my arm. I guess I'll get in here and make some bets. But so I actually looked at the Dallas and Ottawa one, and I almost took Dallas money line, but I stopped. My thumb stopped me before I could do it, and I was like, for some reason I just didn't didn't like Dallas today. So I'm with you.
It's Dallas at Detroit. I've been saying Ottawa this whole time, which makes it even worse.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and Detroit, I also like. I know that they've had a good start to the season, but like they have I think they're 2 wins shy of Dallas. Otherwise, their records are identical.
Yeah. Yep.
Not having a bad year.
I was actually talking to Eric Dean of Mile High Sports about Detroit last night, and I thought that the Nedeljkovic signing for them was good at the time, but you know, a decent goalie on a bad team can be a bad goalie.
Yep.
And he was saying he's not a big fan of him. He doesn't think he's very good. And I was saying, look at teams like the Avalanche who have taken goalies with question marks,
right,
and turned them into elite talent. You know, it's the team can make or break a goalie, I think. So that makes it a big question mark with Dallas.
Yeah.
The other game, this is the right one. It's Ottawa and Nashville. They're playing right now. It's first period. I just took my second bet of the day because I couldn't help myself. I took Nashville and Dallas together on the money line at plus 155. So I'm doubling down on the unpredictability of Nashville and Ottawa and Dallas and Detroit.
I love that you're most uncertain about Dallas winning. So you went ahead and included them in a second parlay.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, just to make sure.
I actually looked at a 9-game money line parlay, just taking the favored team, but those never hit for me.
Yeah,
I do it.
So we did that for a few weeks actually last year, just during the season over at DNVR, where every Saturday, because the NHL loves to do those giant
Saturdays,
the giant schedules on Saturday. And we did this thing for a couple months where every Saturday we'd just go through and pick every game. Just straight money line for every game, put it into a huge parlay, put like $5 on it or whatever. And the payouts were always huge. AJ, one of my colleagues over there at DNVR, got within 2 games twice. And a lot of it was just go heavy favorites because every now and then you get one of these Saturdays where it is just like a bunch of layups. They're always fun, but yeah, you said they never hit.
This is not that Saturday. We've got Florida Panthers playing the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
You've got Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Really hard to pick that one because Pittsburgh hasn't been traditionally Pittsburgh. I mean, they're 15-8-4, but Buffalo, Tage Thompson, we'll talk about him later.
Yeah.
Wild card there. Calgary and Toronto, it's like you feel comfortable to a degree on some of these. Carolina and the Islanders.
More than ever this season, I really do feel like, and Pittsburgh I feel like has been this way for years, where like they have Crosby, they have Malkin, so they are just good enough, but like the body of work is never that impressive, yet they're always there. They're always there at the end of the season. And then like Calgary, they come out of the gates super hot. Everyone's like, oh yeah, here's that cup contender we all thought. And they've cooled like way down. Nazem Kadri has cooled way down.
Yeah, my fantasy team knows all about that.
Right. And like Jacob Markstrom has not been good, but he's still Jacob Markstrom. Like on any given day, he can go pitch a 45 save shutout. So like I just feel like there's more unpredictability in the league this year, and I guess in recent years, than I can remember in a long time. And it makes making these bets like this so hard.
Yeah, I feel like the start of the season, every season, it's just insane amounts of goals, and the defense doesn't catch up. Teams haven't adjusted, systems haven't settled, and then it settles down. But not really this year. I don't feel like.
Not really this year, and not really last year. Like, I mean, you and I were actually talking about it last night. Like, Chris Kreider scores 50 goals last year for the first time in his career, well into his 30s. 25 goals in the power play, 25 even strength goals. And it's just, like, to your point, that usually calms down halfway through the seasons.
Yeah.
Guys that are scoring like that usually fizzles out. How many 35-plus goal scorers did the NHL have last year? It's just, there's been a really weird change in the NHL for no...
All the goals.
I can't point at any one thing that's like, oh, well, this changed. So, scoring is up. Them shrinking goalie pads by like a quarter of an inch on each side can't make this much of a difference.
It's insane. It's insane. Do you have any other matinee monies?
I do. So I actually the Florida Tampa game, I did a same game parlay.
Let's hear it. I looked. I couldn't pull the trigger.
So I did take Tampa on the money line. I still think they're the big brother in that.
Yeah.
But then I actually just did. I had 2 anytime goal scorers, Steven Stamkos and Matthew Tkachuk, as
bold
to both get a goal in that game.
I was in DraftKings, and they're the ones that gave me they kind of offer up like juicy, quick same game parlays.
Yeah.
And another one was Tampa money line, odd number of goals in the first period, and Stamkos to score anytime. And then another one was the opposite, Florida odd goals. Tkachuk to score
Tkachuk
anytime.
scored.
And I'm like, you can feel reasonably good about either of these, but the odd goals in the first period is
yeah.
tough.
I mean, that's such a roll of the dice. And so, yeah, I really just kind of squished those two same-game parlays together. So I figure Matthew Tkachuk thrives on these rivalry-type games.
He's been hot lately.
Yep.
He's figuring it out.
He's been hot. Steven Stamkos, he's like a Tampa guy through and through. I think these games mean a little something to him. So I like that one. It's at a plus 700, so if that tells you...
Bold.
Right.
Bold strategy.
I also, in the Dallas-Detroit game, one of my favorite bets, it's hard to find good odds on it. First period over. It's almost always set at 1.5 for most games. So you're just looking for the teams to match each other, and you're good. So I took first period over in Detroit and Dallas. And then these are another ones that they're free money sometimes on DraftKings. Jason Robertson have over half a power play point is plus 100. So I just feel like if he's I feel like that's, like I said, it's easy money.
I hate to bring this up when we're talking about easy money, but I definitely made free money on the Boston Avalanche matchup.
Yeah.
And we can get into that more later
So
too.
did I.
But that was one where you looked at it, you're like, I don't even care if it's minus 275 or whatever.
Right.
I took it minus 170. I was like, it's hitting.
It's just an ATM. It's just how much money would I like to add on to? And yeah, even at those negative odds. But at plus 100, Devon Taves, you can find him a lot at over half an assist at positive money on DraftKings.
JJ is a big fan of the shots. Plus 3.5 shots. So those used to hit a lot with Kadri last year. He went on a stretch where he was averaging like 5 shots a game. That was free money every game.
They had, and it was eventually they caught up to it, but they had Cale Makar at over 1.5 shots a game for like the first 3 months of the season last year, and eventually they started upping it because that was just
we're just hemorrhaging money here,
printing money every game,
especially this season. The way the team has been structured with injuries, anything Cale Makar is usually a good bet, except. I've seen a couple, hot Cale Makar points or goal bets where I'm like, I'm not so sure currently.
Yeah, I tried to do the other one that I like is the saves props that they'll get sometimes, that goalie to have over X number of saves. I was trying to find that one for the Tampa Florida game, but they didn't have them available. So
yeah, some of those are tough to just find in the system.
Right.
We've got Avs practice going on right now. You actually stopped by. Quickly to take a look, and I want to get into some of that here after the break. But Kyle Fredrickson's there. He's saying Artturi Lehkonen will be making the trip to St. Louis tomorrow.
Yep.
And looks close. I have to assume, he took morning skate yesterday, didn't play.
Yep.
But took contact, played power play. I'm sure they were giving it an extra day.
Yep. So I mean, it's concussion protocol, so I'm sure they're just really wanting to be double, triple sure. When he switched from the white jersey to the blue jersey that indicated the special teams work, I thought he was going to go last night. But
so did I, especially without Nichushkin on the ice. I was like, oh, here it is.
Right. But like Jared Bednar shut that down. Like it wasn't even like, maybe he'll go. He was like, no, outright, he's not going. He came out today in the blue jersey, blue socks, all that stuff. I did confirm with the team. He's traveling. Obviously, they're not telling us definitively if he will be in the lineup, but I can't imagine they take him for a 1-game road trip without the intention of playing.
He just wants a nice vacation to St. Louis. Yeah. Who wouldn't want that?
Right in the middle of December for an afternoon Sunday game. That sounds like my perfect weekend.
Yeah, my perfect weekend is checking out the Arch. I don't know what else you do there. Eat fried ravioli, I've heard.
I tried Emo's Pizza when I was there.
Yeah, I was going to say really bad, but somehow good pizza that Peter Baugh talks about.
It. Yeah.
And then your trip away.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just jealous that that's what Artturi Lehkonen may be staring down. That's just me, though.
Staying in a 5-star hotel. I don't know. I've never been with the team, so I don't even know where they stay, but they stay nice places.
Right there in Ballpark Village.
Well, we'll be back after the break. This is The Hockey Show. Brian Bolden here with Jesse Montaño. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, Mile High Sports has a Q&A with Eric Johnson.
Great picture.
This month. Yeah, great pictures. There's more than one. It's got the infamous Eric Johnson in the bed with the Stanley Cup. I believe Gabe Landeskog delivered that naked.
Yes. Yep. I believe that was what we heard.
We'll be back. The Hockey Show.
Living the Dream Brewing. If you're a fan of award-winning beers made with only the finest ingredients, then chances are you've already visited the tap room in Littleton or picked up a six-pack at the store. If not, it's about time you did. Founded in 2014, Living the Dream celebrates the people, places, and lifestyle of living in the Centennial State. The next time you're relaxing with friends or headed out on a Colorado adventure, take the best craft beers along with you. Meet all of their beers now at livingthedreambrewing.com. Living the Dream Brewing. Live the life you've imagined.
While no one expects to be in a car crash, if you've been injured in one, you need an attorney and you need the best. I know Kurt Zahner and Mark Harden, and they are the only two lawyers I would want handling a case for me. They have won every award out there. Super lawyers, top 100 national trial lawyers. With their multi-million-dollar verdicts, you may have seen them recently on Good Morning America, your local news channels, or in the pages of the Denver Post. If you've been involved in an auto accident, reach out to Zahner Harden Law today at yourstorywillbetold.com. That's yourstorywillbetold.com. Hey
gang, it's Nate Lundy, and for years I've been telling you about my friends Dave and Mark at Key Real Estate Group's Colorado Luxury Home Team. That personalized service that you need, whether you're buying or selling your first home or an investment property. Dave and Mark are here to help you every step of the way. If you're selling, they develop custom advertising tailored to your specific property to make sure the best marketing is provided. They do custom property websites, professional photography, virtual tours, aerial videos, network marketing, and even print advertising just to make sure that your home sells for top dollar. If you're looking to buy, Key Real Estate Group, they make sure you get a level of service that goes above and beyond anything you could have expected. Custom property searches and instant notifications when listings that fit your needs hit the market in real time. The technology is on your side. Give Dave and Mark a call today at 720-900-LIST. That's 720-900-LIST or online at keyrealestategroup.com. That's keyrealestategroup.com.
Silter Har Mazda is more than just getting you into your favorite new or pre-owned Mazda. They're determined to get what you want, even if they don't have it on the lot. So if you want anything in the Mazda family, like a sedan, coupe, convertible, truck, or SUV, you might not see it today, but you'll drive it away. And you might be doing it out of their beautiful brand new showroom that'll be ready this spring. Go to Broomfield today for a test drive or check them out at sthmazda.com during the season of inspiration.
Right now, it's 16 minutes past the big hour. Is that not right, Mr. Scream? Great, good stuff. I think people are getting really cranked.
We are back. The Hockey Show. Ryan Bolden in here with Jesse Montaño of DNVR. No JJ this week. We've covered it.
That's right. He's cut.
We actually have breaking news, which we can get to again at the end of the show.
I was just going to say.
Jeff Skinner suspended for 3 games for cross-checking Jake Gensel right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the face. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Just remember that. 3 games. I'll forget probably. But
I was saying, I definitely want to make sure we talk about the number of games there because I have a lot of thoughts on that, how it relates to another suspension that we just saw handed out a couple days ago.
Perfect.
So we'll make sure we'll sort.
Love to see it. Speaking of injured faces and otherwise, the Colorado Avalanche are basically this year's season of The Walking Dead, right?
Yep.
That show's done, but you can continue to watch it if you have access to altitude every other night as the Avalanche play because they're out everyone. But getting some good injury news. We talked about Artturi Lehkonen right before the break, and you saw at practice before coming over here another player who was on the cusp, we'll say.
Yep. Yeah, so stopping in there, look, that's really where we're at right now with any of these practices, morning skates. You and I were actually joking yesterday in the locker room, like there's just not much left to talk to these guys about right now until some of these players start coming back because, everything around this team is just about the injuries and what's going on. So stopping into practice on my way over here, and it was, all right, we saw guys yesterday participating. What's going on? So Artturi Lehkonen on the ice. It sounds like he's going to St. Louis. Evan Rodrigues steps on the ice in a green jersey. So that's a new color. I'm assuming that is still some type of...
Is it like half contact?
Right.
I can't decide. Is it like it's holidays. It's the holiday version. We're just going to alternate red and green, or is it like I'm wearing mistletoe? Come kiss me.
So here are my two theories. One, it was 3 theories, I guess. One, it was like I'm going to test out a little bit of contact. Go easy on me. I'm in something a little bit different.
I'm dipping my good toe in.
Right. The other one is they're heading out on the road and they've already packed up all the other red jerseys and they were like, here's green. Or they said, hey, it's a holiday season. Christmas is in a couple weeks. We're sending Darren Helm out there in red. Let's go ahead and give Erod the green and just kind of lighten the spirits around here. I'm sure that one's the most likely for what it was, but it could be the other two.
It's hard to say because you don't know how seriously or not seriously they take these things.
Right.
So I don't know.
And it was an optional practice too. So like, does he need to be in a red, or to your point, or is it just like hey, we found this green set laying around? Like, I don't know. So that was a new color, but I am taking it as he's getting close. Like, he was out there full go yesterday for morning skate. He's back out there again today for an optional. If you're injured, you're not taking an optional. You know what I mean?
Well, he did hop off on rushes yesterday.
Did he?
I don't know that he's
Oh, see, I thought it shows how much I was paying attention, I guess. But I thought he went the whole thing. But
yeah, maybe he did. Maybe that was the game before. I know Darren Helm has got to be. I mean, Jared Bednar said Nichushkin and Helm are getting close.
Right.
They're close. And you're like, yeah, but one of them's still wearing red.
Well, and so that's my thing. Like, Darren Helm, so again, this morning, like, he was out there even a little bit early. Like, he was one of the first guys on once the exam got done. And, like, he's flying. I actually have a video I haven't posted yet on Twitter. He's flying around, ripping shots. I don't know why he's still in red. Obviously,
yeah,
I know.
I wonder if it's stability because it's a hip, right? His injury is a hip injury.
Yeah.
Surgical.
Yep.
I noticed at least one morning skate this week, which now they're the same in my brain, so I can't say which. He seemed to not have strength in his shot on the move, and I was like, I wonder if it's that
shoulder.
I
thought it was shoulder surgery.
Maybe I had hip from another NHL report that I just transferred over to mine.
Hey,
shoulder would make sense. So would a hip though if he doesn't have power in his shot, and that's what I was noticing. And then Bednar said he's getting close, and I'm like, not that close.
Right, yeah. He's close, but not close enough to take him out of the red. Because like typically, it's the process that we just saw followed with Valeri Nichushkin, right? You go from red, you take a practice in red, then you go to a normal jersey, you take a full practice in a normal jersey, you don't play in a game, and then after that, once you've gone through that first full practice in a normal jersey, then the conversation kind of shifts to, can he come back? What's the real timeline for returning? So the fact that Darren Helm is still in red, I mean, you're probably looking at least another week until he's an option.
And we saw Val Nichushkin came back. We saw this process with Val. It's kind of the blueprint, right? Although we didn't really see him in red too much.
Right.
He kind of just skated while the team was on the road, came out and got ready. So that's the kind of the barometer we have. I wanted to ask last night about this to Jared Bednar, but I think the answer is obvious, and so I don't want to get obviously this is what we're doing, but I want to get a good quote and thoughts from him about it, and that is a lot of players who undergo significant injury and downtime typically do a rehabilitation stint in the AHL, right? And it what is the point, I guess, of doing that right now if this team is so in need of top-tier talent players, right? So I wanted to ask, and it just didn't feel super appropriate at the time, especially because I came in late. But is it more beneficial to just throw a guy like Rodrigues, Lehkonen, Nichushkin right into the lineup? I mean, Rodrigues hasn't missed as much time as Nichushkin, neither has Lehkonen. But, these guys who haven't skated, it's impossible to get into full game shape without playing games.
Right.
You can't take the contact. The speed isn't the same. So is it more beneficial to the team to just have a Nichushkin play as shaky as he is, 22 minutes like he did last night, and get up to speed the hard way like we do every time our beer league season ends? Or is there a benefit to sending him down and getting a couple AHL games under his belt?
Right. So it's funny because Jared Bednar said that last night after the game. I don't know if you had made your way over from Rangers yet, But someone asked about Val, and he goes, you could tell he was rusty. You could tell he was a little shaky. The conditioning wasn't there. And all I could think in my head was like, well, you played him over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I don't know. It doesn't sound like you thought he was that rusty. But so this is a funny conversation because I was actually about to ask you what you thought. With a guy like Val, Rodrigues, I do, to answer your question, I do think the team looks at it right now like, yeah, we'd rather have rusty Val Nichushkin.
Yeah, we'd rather have Draisaitl on half an ankle than no ankle.
Right, exactly. But there's two guys that I do wonder about, and one of them it'd be a great jersey to get one day. Darren Helm and Gabe Landeskog. Like, how do you not give those guys something? Like, Gabe Landeskog we've seen him now, I think, twice, maybe 3 times in the last couple weeks, go out there and, like, very gingerly twirl around the rink a little bit, flip some pucks towards the net. I think those are, like, the only times he's really skated since the Stanley Cup final, other than what Jared said, that he did that 1 or maybe 2 captain skates in the summer, and it was those skates when he realized
something's wrong.
Something's not right here, yeah. So, I mean, would it be weird to send the captain of the Colorado Avalanche down to the Eagles for a week? Maybe. But, I mean, like, I don't know how you don't at this point. Like, I just feel like throwing him back in after 9 months off.
Like, does that put a player at risk, having not played for months and months and months?
Right.
And skating on your own and doing hard practices, throwing them into a game and being like, okay, go. Like, is your touch going to be off? Is your timing going to be off?
Right. Unless they're going to do like what the Tampa Bay Lightning did with Nikita Kucherov a couple years ago, where they're going to literally practice him for like 7 weeks, full contact. Now, that was partially Tampa having to do that because they didn't have the cap room to activate him off IR. But, I mean, like, unless you're going to do something like that, I'm with you. Like, I almost feel like you're putting, not necessarily Gabe Landeskog at risk of re-injuring himself, but of just getting blown up. And that's not just exclusive to Gabe Landeskog. That's anybody who goes 9 months without really playing and then, go jump right into the NHL again.
Yeah, go score.
Yeah. Hey, go be the Gabe Landeskog we need you to be every single night, every shift.
And this is a guy who makes his bread and butter tipping shots in front of the net at an exceptional rate. Like, he is exceptionally talented at that. I mean, are you going to keep him out of those areas? Are you going to tell him don't go do what you do until you're ready? It's a weird question, and I think for sure a guy like Landeskog and Helm are totally different than Nichushkin because we don't know what the state of the team's going to be like at the time.
Right.
But right now I just found it interesting. Like, noticeably during the game, we're watching Nichushkin, and you're like, okay, he's kind of a stiff-legged skater already, an upright skater, but he seemed to be laboring a little bit in the second period. You know, we watched a shift where it looked like he might have been limping a little bit and headed off the ice, and you just don't know. Is he exhausted, and that's what's going on? You see the final time on ice, you're like, okay, probably.
Well, and honestly, the fact that he was even able to get through 22 minutes, you know, as well as he did, and look, he looked visibly, I don't even want to say in worse shape, because I feel like that is like, I feel like that's a swipe at him. But like, you could tell he wasn't in game shape, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Val Nichushkin is a notorious for his physical shape. How, you know, he lifts, he rides the bike immediately after games. He's always in the gym. Like, he's in great shape. He can skate. That's one of the reasons why Jared Bednar loves using him when the team gets to overtime, because he can just skate everyone else into the ground, and he didn't have that. So a player like him who thrives on skating you into the ground, heavy on the forecheck, giving you no time, giving you no space, it's impressive that he was even able to get through 22 minutes. That's just a testament to the conditioning that he normally, you know, I'm saying this wrong, the shape he's normally in.
His preconditioning, basically.
Yeah.
That
was really hard for me to get out.
The Avalanche have done a good job of getting ahead early this season, I'll say. Not necessarily in games in general, but on the season. You know, struggled to start, had a nice 4-game win streak in there, had a 3-game win streak in there. The wheels are kind of coming off here. You know, they've lost 4 in a row now. They won 1. That was at Buffalo. The last win was at home against the Dallas Stars. So the last win was December 1st. The one before that was November 26th. Lose to the Rangers in a shootout, so you get a point. And you're looking at a struggling Blues team coming up, a struggling Flyers team that kind of lit you up. Buffalo again, Nashville, the Islanders, the Canadiens, the Predators, the Coyotes, the Kings, the Leafs to close out the year. You've got a slate here where it's possible to tread water, but you can't really suffer another injury, and you need guys to be good and ready to go.
Yeah, no, so it's been so interesting to watch this season unfold in real time, because you started the season without Gabe Landeskog and Darren Helm, and even that right there, like, you were having a little bit of the conversation of, well, the depth isn't as good as it was last year right now, so you gotta keep your head above water a bit. And it actually turned into this impressive start within that context of, hey, they were able to get a nice gap on 500. They're well ahead. They're second in the division. They've done a nice job banking points. And then as these injuries started piling up just more and more and more every single day, that, you really are, you're like, okay, well, it's a good thing they banked points, because you knew a stretch like this was coming. As well coached as this team is, as bought in as this team is, et cetera, however you want to describe it, you knew that they couldn't sustain the not losing back-to-back games, right? That wasn't going to last, and you knew a stretch like this was going to come. On one hand, it was kind of an unfortunate stretch that these injuries came right at the start of a 4-game road trip where you had to play in some tough buildings against some good teams. You end up getting Boston twice in a week where you're without 5 of your top 6 players.
Arguably, I mean, not even arguably, the best team in the league.
The best team in the league right now, and like they looked good, and you could tell that those games meant something to Boston. Like, they weren't pulling up at all. And so you went from having this kind of unfortunate part of the schedule to now, like you said, you have some games here where even if you get Artturi Lehkonen back, and let's say that's it, right, before the end of December. I don't think that'll be it, but let's just say you should reasonably be able to rattle off 3 or 4 wins pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then there's several other those games that you should at least be into the point where you are getting a point, winning a game in overtime, winning a close game, whatever. So the schedule does us favors here. The other part of that, most of those are at home.
Yeah.
Like, the travel is way easier this month. You're not staying in hotels. You can be with, the guys that are injured can be around the team.
It's about 3 weeks left, 2 weeks at home, 1 week on the road.
Yeah. So, look, they have an advantageous schedule here to end this season. That game in Philly, I thought that was a tough one, because you could tell once Nate went down, just the entire vibe around the team changed. Like, that was the entire concern. The result of the game really kind of felt meaningless. It was just what happened to this guy now. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they'll have a nice bounce back week here. I thought they played really well last night, despite the loss. I think that'll be something for them to build on.
When Jared Bednar talked about last night, we need to carve out points. We did a good job of floating 500, but it is what it is. We need to carve out points. And he's not wrong. The team needs to do that. We're going to hit a break here and come back in and hear a little bit from Jared Bednar himself just about the state of this team as it was this week. I know we've had a game since we talked to him at practice, but he had some, I think, enlightening things to say about, where this team is currently. Mm-hmm. So we'll be back. Mile High Sports. This is The Hockey Show. Ryan Bolding, Danny Bailey behind the glass. Jesse Montaño of DNVR is here with me.
Everybody knows Total Beverage in Westminster and Thornton, right? Sure, Total Beverage has an incredible selection of beer, wine, and spirits. But did you know they deliver? Did you know they have curbside pickup available? And did you know they do online wine education classes? If not, it's time to get to know Total Beverage again. Stop by on 104th in Thornton or on Sheridan in Westminster and see for yourself. Or you can always find weekly deals, events, and even drink recipes online at TotalBev.com. Total Beverage, everything you need and more.
Hey gang, it's Nate Lundy. Let's talk barbecue. I've lived all over the country and have had a chance to try a lot of it, which is why I'm glad to have Rolling Smoke Barbecue here in Denver. Hardwood smoked with sides made fresh every single day. Rolling Smoke started as a food truck 5 years ago and has become so popular that Terry now has 2 locations, one in the Stanley Marketplace and another that just opened at Dry Creek and University. Stop in and give them a try, and just like me, you'll be back again and again. It's Rolling Smoke Barbecue, the Stanley Marketplace, Dry Creek at University, and online at rollingsmokebbq.co.
SJO Electric has been a locally owned and operated family business since 2004. Specializing in both residential and commercial buildings, SJO Electric is a full-service electrical contractor serving the Denver metro area and Colorado's Front Range. SJO offers free job walks as well as 24/7 emergency service. Check out their website, sjoelectric.com, for coupons, or give them a call today at 303-400-4321.
Broncos country, now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code Cody. Some of the things I love about FanDuel, they have all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. And with live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Get your winnings paid out fast, all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code Cody for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code Cody. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Denver Broncos. 21 plus and present in Colorado. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Argonaut Wine and Liquor has been a family-owned business for 55 years. So whether you live in the city or work in the city and want to pick something up on the way home, Argonaut has everything you need, as well as top-shelf sales staff, including several sommeliers. And if you can't make it down to Argonaut off Colfax, they've got free delivery on orders of $100 or more in the metro area. Stop by Argonaut today to see why Westward named it the best liquor store in Denver 5 years running. Or order online at argonautliquor.com.
The South Mexican-American restaurant is owned by former Denver Broncos All-Pro Jerry Sturm. The South is home of the original quesarito, enjoyed by generations. It's been in business over 45 years. The South is at 3535 South Huron Street in Inglewood, just off Hamden. The South is perfect for lunch, dinner, or just stop by for a cocktail. It's you, the customer, that makes the South what it is.
Let's go, Colorado!
We're back on the hockey show. Danny, I don't know if I ever told you, but this was my first pick for our intro song before I went to Metallica.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, it's good. I feel the vibes of this one. This one gets me going. A little Chevelle. We're back. This is the hockey show. Ryan Bolden here. Danny Bailey behind the glass. Jesse Montaño of DNVR here with me in place of JJ Jerez, who has been sent down for conditioning.
Yeah.
Jesse, we talked to Jared Bednar a lot this week, but we had a practice day at Ball Arena. What was that, Thursday?
Yep.
And when you and I were walking out, I was talking, I said it felt like almost an all-timer this season from Jared. Very accessible, very open about things.
Yep. Long answers.
You commented on how he's a bit of a hockey nerd, so he likes to take the bait. Taking the bait isn't fair, but sometimes if you can ask a kind of nerdy hockey question,
he just can't help himself.
Response. Yeah. So we talked to Jared about the young players on the team, the state of this team. I tried to keep the questions in. If you can hear them, it's kind of hard because the phone's 5-10 feet away from us.
Mm-hmm.
But just so you have an idea of what I think to expect during this stretch of injuries. And what the Avalanche, what Jared Bednar expects.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little 5-6 minute clip here of questions from practice, and I think maybe even post game yesterday.
Well, we did a big game review, teaching video, a lot of things that we can be better at. Some of the things that have been kind of hurting us a little bit defensively here recently. Thought process starts with our forecheck, our tracking, our rush coverage, some of the things that we have to be aware of that's now popping up game after game. And then D zone coverage, we're having some trouble closing some plays out, and talked about it yesterday, teams finding their F3 and creating scoring chances in there. So we had a lot of good video this morning, and what I'd like to do on those practice days is once we show it to make sure we're working on it and improving on it. So that was our focus for this morning. I like the practice, so I think it's good practice for us. We haven't had, we've been assigning players injured. Today we actually got extra players on the ice and still had everyone here, so we were able to kind of have at least short but really highly focused practice. We only have 6D and some of them are playing a lot, so we can't tax them too much. But I think we got accomplished what we wanted to accomplish out of today for sure.
How hard is it to transition from coaching a roster of, a heavy core who won the Cup last year to a lot of these young guys? You've had a lot of players making their NHL debut, not a lot of NHL experience.
Yeah, so it's different. So we've gone so when you have your group and it's a group that's been together and grown together, you use training camp for reminders work to kind of get set, and then you kind of step into play with limited mistakes, and it's easy to go through the game and be like, okay, here's 5, 6, 7 mistakes, and some of them are repeated, and that's what we're going to show and teach, and everyone gets clear on it. And guys are able to, experienced guys and high-end skill and top players like we have, they're able to implement it in the game right away. I think when you get a young team, you more so than just than systems, it's conceptual things that you need to be aware of, So you're kind of starting from ground up. It's right now, it's a lot of teaching. It's the shift that we're making, like you would with young players in the American League, so that everyone kind of gets dialed into the way you're thinking and the way your team wants to play, how you build an identity, and then really sort of tightening up on system things. So we're looking at all our mistakes. We're talking through them at a more in-depth look than what we would with just our core group of guys that is generally playing.
Is there a way to nurture or protect the confidence of your vets, your goalies in this kind of stretch here to try and keep them up?
Well, we've talked about a little bit what about our expectations are from our veteran guys. It's more attitudinal, leadership, staying positive, but making sure that frustration and negativity and things like that don't creep into our locker room. We are where we are, our team is what it is. I expect certain things out of certain guys, and it may be tiered, okay, and our margin for error may be smaller than what it normally is, but it's about, like we talked about, I think I mentioned it the other day, not putting contingencies on our work, right? We have to do the right things as individuals and as a team, as a group of 5 on the ice, and the expectations are still high from me. And like I said, it may be tiered down a little bit on some of the plays we make offensively, but the competitiveness and the effort and things like that have to be through the roof at this point, even from our veteran guys, more so even from our veteran guys.
You guys have talked a lot in the last couple of years about making sure that the systems and everything that you guys do here is reflected in what they do up in Loveland. How much have you felt, obviously there's going to be teaching moments and guys, young guys coming up making mistakes, but how have you felt with this huge influx of guys from the AHL? Has it given you a nice look at we are on the same page with these two organizations, or we still have a gap to close in terms of work ethic or any of that?
No, I think the messaging that I'm giving guys when they're leaving here, and then I talk with Crow, and Crow and I talk regularly about players, about all kinds of stuff, team related, our team, their team, what they're going through, what we're going through. He can be teaching the players some things down there. I'm doing the exact same thing with guys up here. Messaging. So I feel like Crow is really good at delivering the message. Like he's a stern coach that wants things done a certain way. It's very similar commitment level that I would want from our guys here. I think he's really clear on the message that I send guys, and then making sure that he sticks with it and grinds those guys to make sure that they're working on that. And the players there all want to be here. Okay, so in order to get here, if I'm telling him something, then they need to work on things. And if he's seeing it in a game, he's good at identifying it and keep delivering that message on a consistent basis. Because, that's the reality of it. Like Martin Kaut, okay? Like Martin Kaut played some really good games for us. He played 18 games, okay? And I'll give you this as an example. But out of those 18 games, like we saw some really good play from a small chunk of games. And there might be one here, a couple together. But what the difference with some of the guys that are here and playing here, Cogliano, O'Connor, is once they find that game, it's like very small fluctuations in there. They're bringing that every night. Okay, the consistency is an issue. Quiet game, good game. So like that's what he has to work on. He has a great conscience. He has the ability to play, but he needs to find that game and be able to bring that on a nightly basis, or 85% of that on a nightly basis to play here.
There you have it. Jared Bednar giving you a look at the state of the team, right? So keep in mind that this expectations are defending the Stanley Cup on the season on a whole, but at this point in time, this season, right now, you've got a roster full of prospects and some sprinkled in veterans in it. So it's about now going from coaching champions who easily accept the details and changes in real time and can implement them.
Yep.
You need to take some time to teach these younger guys what it is they need to do and allow them the time to implement it.
Yeah, so there's a couple things there that he said that I remember even kind of them sticking in my head at the time, and then now just rehearing them. One, it's what you were just alluding to, how he talks about, with the veteran guys that were here last year, they make a mistake, and obviously this is I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but like they make a mistake, you go talk about it once, cool, they correct, they correct that mistake. You don't typically see it popping up again, or at least not in the same way. With these young guys, it's harder for them to do that. So you can't just kind of, hey, this is what happened, we got to fix this. Cool, let's go out and do it. No, you got to really teach them. Here's the mistake. Here's why that happened. And here's how you fix it. It's not just, here's the mistake, go fix it. And then the other part of that I just thought was so interesting was how he said the expectations for everyone are the same, but they may be tiered. And what that means is, like you said, we expect everyone to be competing at a certain level. We expect everyone to be bought into the same goal. But you know that the responsibilities you're assigning a guy like Jean-Luc Foudy are different than the responsibilities you're assigning a guy like Mikko Rantanen. And so it really is. It's got to be very tough for not just Jared Bednar, but this entire coaching staff to have. It's not like you're talking about, oh, we got this, this young guy up on the roster. He's a rookie. He's one of the few rookies. Well, no, you have half your team that you have this wide-ranging scale. You have guys from, ranging from Mikko Rantanen and Cale Makar, who have, all kinds of hardware and Stanley Cups, to guys like Ben Myers, who are in their first year of professional hockey, to guys like Charles Hudon, who have played in the NHL before, but are now kind of, tweeners. Like, you have everything on this roster right now. And to me, it does say something about this coaching staff and even team management that they're having to. This is not an easy task.
Yeah, and that's the kind of what I asked. Like, how do you switch your mindset as a coach
right.
from these guys just won the Stanley Cup and they know what they need to do to I am coaching from the ground up here,
right,
for the majority of the roster.
Because how often or how much do you hear that, right? Guys after they win say, we know what it takes to win. How often do we see teams make trades for guys because this guy knows how to win? He's been there. You are 6 months removed from winning the Stanley Cup. This team at full health is absolutely in that tier of they know what it takes to win. They've been there. They've been through the heartbreak. They've now reached the summit, all that stuff. But for all intents and purposes, you have almost none of that like left hanging around at this point. The guys that you do have up until last night, getting Valeri Nichushkin back, the guys that you do have, it's like Mikko, Kale, Taves, and then depth guys from last year.
And guys, Alex Newhook. This is his second year.
Role play.
Second year in the league.
Right. And I'm just thank you for saying that. I remind people every chance that I get, Alex Newhook is in his sophomore season. He's 21 years old. I'm not going to build on that anymore. Take that for whatever you will. But just remember, Alex Newhook, 21 years old.
I remember, we're going to go into a break right after this, but I remember doing a story on Nathan MacKinnon his second year in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him. I don't know if you remember, he put on 15 pounds of muscle.
Yep.
We had an interview to start the hockey show this season. We had an exclusive interview with Nathan MacKinnon, JJ, and I, where he talked about that. We talked about that aspect in particular and how kind of silly it seems now, right? But that seemed like the thing to do. I'm going to get stronger and bigger, but that doesn't necessarily mean better. But I remember distinctly because he said he did not believe in the sophomore slump. He did not think it was a real thing, and he had a terrible second season in the league. And I think a lot of players figure out that, just getting by on talent is not the way to have success in the NHL. You always have to be improving. You always have to better your shot, improve your skating, become trickier, right? Not become stale and rote. And maybe that's some of the reason why we're seeing so many goals this season, too. But we're going to come back. We got a break right now. We'll go around the league here, do a little prolonged mixed bag skate after this. This is The Hockey Show on Mile High Sports Radio.
Root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they'll give you a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on a Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to the plain old QB sack worth 2 points, root for chaos and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Colorado app right now and start rooting for 2 with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Let's face it, you have plenty to think about on the drive, from last night's big plays to what's on deck for your day. CBiz will keep this short and sweet. When you're ready to talk numbers, and no, not the ones on the scoreboard, your team of professional tax, advisory, and accounting service providers at CBiz Colorado will be there to listen. Visit cbiz.com/milehigh to learn how your team of local Denver advisors backed by specialists nationwide helps businesses in the Mile High City score. That's cbiz.com/milehigh.
This is Sean Sedita with Platte River Mortgage. I'm often asked, when's the best time to refinance? Every situation is different, but if you've been in your home for 12 months or more, you could be missing an opportunity to refinance, remove mortgage insurance, consolidate debt, and possibly save $500 to $1,000 per month. Let us help you start the conversation towards saving money today. Check out our website at PlatteRiverMortgage.com to see testimonials from families we've been helping for the better part of 2 decades, or give us a call at 303-433-9900.
Platte River Mortgage and Investments, NMLS ID number 393041, NMLSConsumerAccess.org, Equal Housing Lender.
Get the latest on the Nuggets with the Pickaxe and Roll podcast with Ryan Blackburn. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, me old China, I'm Lee Marvin, heading to GB Fish and Chips. Get out your barraccas and meet us there for pig's ears, tiddlywinks, and amazing dog's eyes. They'll have footy on the Liza, so don't forget your dicky dirt.
Translation. Hello, mate. I'm starving. I'm heading to GB Fish and Chips. Get out of your pajamas and meet me there for beers, drinks, and amazing meat pies. They're sure to have the football game on the telly, so don't forget to wear your shirt.
Visit GB Fish and Chips at one of 3 convenient locations or at gbfishandchips.com.
Living the Dream Brewing. If you're a fan of award-winning beers made with only the finest ingredients, then chances are you've already visited the tap room in Littleton or picked up a 6-pack at the store. If not, it's about time you did. Founded in 2014, Living the Dream celebrates the people, places, and lifestyle of living in the Centennial State. The next time you're relaxing with friends or headed out on a Colorado adventure, take the best craft beers along with you. Meet all of their beers now at livingthedreambrewing.com. Living the Dream Brewing. Live the life you've imagined.
Unlimited is fun, right? Unlimited refills, unlimited breadsticks. Well, how about unlimited car washes with Cobblestone Car Wash? At Cobblestone, you can save time, save money, and wash all you want with no contract required. There are 19 locations and more coming soon, which means you're sure to have one near you. Visit cobblestone.com to find your location. And when you go, be sure to ask about the unlimited plan. Enjoy the benefits and wash all you want. That's cobblestone.com. Your car. Your car. 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 car.
play hockey and I fornicate because those are the two most fun things in cold weather.
This one's old school. I gotta let this one breathe a little bit, Danny.
What clip is that?
That is from Mystery Lesson.
Is it?
Yeah. Guess you're gonna have to refresh your hockey movie history.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to rewatch it for several reasons.
It's a good bad film. I mean, we obviously have a clip. Okay, you can fade it out. I don't want to lose everybody. We obviously have a clip from The Love Guru, which I claim as a hockey movie.
Yeah,
I don't think many people
is.
remember that it is a hockey movie.
Yeah.
So Kyle Fredrickson from the Denver Gazette, he was asking what hockey movies he needs to watch, and I was like, put The Love Guru in there. And somebody was like, oh. And I'm like, it's bad, but it's enjoyably bad. And it's got hockey players in it. Rob Blake's in it.
Yeah. I mean, don't they have like most of a team? Isn't
Toronto?
Yeah. Most of the roster makes an appearance. See, that's one of those movies, like you said, it's bad, but like there are so many funny.
Yeah, and Stephen Colbert is in it. You don't even remember that.
Right.
Like, he's one of the hockey commentators. It's good.
Before we move on, I just wanted to go real quick back to that, what you were talking about with Nathan MacKinnon, with him bulking up, because we all remember that season. And I actually think, if my memory serves me right, by like January, February, he had shed all the extra weight that he had gained. He actually had to take time to lose all of that, extra muscle.
That's probably the last time he had ice cream.
Yeah, that was he swore it off during that stretch. But it's just so funny. You and I were talking about it a little bit during the break, and you can see how young players can make that leap, and they end up doing kind of silly things. And I almost feel like that's what contributes to that sophomore slump more than anything else, is when they say, okay, well, that went well. I had a good rookie season. At this young, all I got to do is add this weight, and I'll come back and I'll be unstoppable. And I feel like it's, and obviously that's what Nathan MacKinnon did, but there's all kinds of different things that I'm sure players do. But it is just funny to see how that works. You don't believe in the sophomore slump, so you go out and you change everything about what you've normally done in the offseason to prove the sophomore slump isn't real, and then you end up having a bad season. It's just funny because it makes you wonder how much of that stuff is like self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Changing the way that they do things.
Well, and speaking of poor choices, Danny Q, Super Nintendo Chalmers going, Skinner! Because we got Jeff Skinner cross-checking Jake Gensel in the face.
Right in the face. Yeah.
And he got 3 games for it, and this isn't the first stick-to-face injury we've seen this week.
Yeah, no, it's so, honestly, I felt that was appropriate. I wouldn't have been shocked had they given him more than 3 games. That was pretty egregious. And the part to me that makes that one bad, like if you go watch the actual play itself, he gets his shot, right? He gets his shot in. He cross-checks Gensel up high, right across the chest. Like, cool. You got your pound of flesh. Why go back for the next cross-check even higher? But the part where I just thought the 3 games were interesting, the reason why I wasn't sure where he would land on this scale was Pierre Engvall earlier this week. Pierre Engvall of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, like, I don't even necessarily want to call it a high stick. Like, he just straight
two-handed.
Who was it in the back of the head? Was it Dursey? Sean Dursey?
Yeah, I think so.
Right in the back of the head. And again, it was the same type of thing where there was a little bit of an altercation, and then just chops him right on the back of the head, and he gets 1 game. Now, again, I'm not necessarily criticizing either suspension. I more of just find it interesting that, to me, I view both of those incidents as pretty similar in terms of the severity of the infraction. Maybe it's because the second one is in the face. They deemed it a little bit worse. I don't know. Stop hitting people in the face / head intentionally.
I don't want to give Skinner a pass. I watched the replay like 4 times last night, and he obviously, Gensel gets him good with the slash down low. Like, you can see on Skinner's face, it hurt. And I think he pops up expecting Gensel to keep his hands up in front of his face or his stick up in front of his face. And it's just one of those where probably as it's happening, you're like, oh no, the stick's not there. Goodbye, nose.
Well, and again, not trying to excuse it, But you can tell if you watch that, like the stick definitely rides up a little bit. And again, it hits him right in the face. I'm not complaining about the 3 games. If you're cross-checking people in the face, I can't defend any type of suspension that you're going to get. But yeah, you and not to play this card, but like if you've ever played the game of hockey, you know that can happen. It's not intentional. It slides up a bit, or like you said, you're expecting someone to defend themselves in a certain way, and you get halfway through and you realize, oh wait, they're not doing that. This is going to be
I made an oops.
Not what I intended.
I made an oops. Tage Thompson scored 5 goals this week in one game. 4 goals in one period.
Yeah.
I mean, what is happening? What's in the water?
I mean, look, I for me, I think Tage Thompson is a good player, but this is in my opinion, this is the revitalization of the Buffalo Sabres. I've talked about it a lot over the last several months. The way that their season ended last year, I said this is the first time, even after they drafted Jack Eichel, this is the first time in over a decade that there seems to be actual hope in Buffalo, and you have guys that want to be there. Led by Alex Tuch, led by Jeff Skinner, who signed a long-term deal there.
Probably led by Patrick Kane at some point this season.
At some point, maybe. If not this season, maybe in the offseason, going back there as a free agent. I think you're seeing a tide change in the culture there, and I think that does big things for guys like Tage Thompson, who have the skill, who have the ability, but we're maybe kind of being just dragged down by like the gray cloud that surrounded that organization for the last however long. They still don't have a goalie. They still have a lot of holes to plug on that roster, but like it feels like they're actually trending in the right direction.
Yeah, you got to move on from Craig Anderson at some point. I mean, he's doing enough, right? But it won't last forever.
It was a fun story last year.
I know you don't agree with me, but I think their awesome white kits are fueling the revitalization of the Buffalo Sabres.
I just think it's the return of the goat head.
Could be that too, or maybe because I did a pedal cruise, booze cruise around the arena this summer. Maybe I brought the good juju
in Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would you do that?
I was there, and it's what you do. And day drinking is great.
That was the majority of the vehicles on the road in Nashville, in downtown Nashville.
Pedal hoppers.
The pedal hoppers. Some
all bachelorette
tractors.
Parties.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Being pulled by tractors and stuff. But no, I really do. I think this is a little bit of the. I'm not quite ready to put Tage Thompson in the same tier as like the McKinnons and McDavids and stuff like that. But I think it's a little bit of the same thing that you saw with McKinnon in Bednar's second year, where even though the 48-point year went as horribly as it did, I think if you talk to people around the organization, they would say that summer after the 48-point season was the first time people were like, okay, it's looking up. Like, we have a direction. We have a path. We have, how much did we hear Eric Johnson talk about this right after the Matt Duchene trade? The people who are here want to be here now. This is our group. This is our core. Regardless of how you feel about all that,
I have a lot of feelings about that. I will say though, I don't disagree, but I do feel like revisionist history is looking at Jared Bednar's coaching legacy and saying the team finished with 48 points in his first year, totally glossing over the fact that Patrick Waugh quit in August.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Jared Bednar took over with, Nolan Pratt was already here,
right?
But Jared Bednar took over with a month. Not even a month before the season started. Not his own coaching staff. Tim Army was still an assistant. Obviously, he was let go after that first year. He's with the Iowa Wild now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that the World Cup of Hockey year?
I don't remember.
So I believe it was. So not only is he coming in late, but he's missing a lot of his roster, his top guys, his leaders. And again, so like that's why I kind of equate that season to how last year was for Buffalo, where the results were horrific. Like they were terrible.
It was 2016.
2016, yeah. So yeah, he not only everything you just listed, but when he starts training camp, he's missing literally every one of his top guys, every one of his leaders. But I really do. I think internally, that season probably ended feeling a lot better than the one the season before did. Because the one the season before, they're at the salary cap. They missed the playoffs. They had just made a couple deadline deals to try to get into the playoffs.
People love to forget Joe Sakic traded for Sean Matthias and Mikhail Bodker at the trade deadline for no reason.
And But they had a direction, right? And they said, cool, we've got our core here. They knew they had to trade Matt Duchene, but they knew that would happen eventually. And they said, cool, we have a direction. This is where we're going. And that was what I saw last year in Buffalo. After they had that Jack Eichel game where he comes back to Buffalo, they keep him off the score sheet, they win this super emotionally charged game. That really seemed like the tide turning for them. And I think Tage Thompson's reaping the rewards this year of having a positive culture.
Yeah.
Having a group that thinks they can win games.
A young, talented group, Casey Middlestat, Rasmus Dahlin,
Owen Power,
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. You're on the right track.
Yeah, but like I said, they've got a ways to go. You got to hope that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen can be an NHL starter. Is this actually the start of Rasmus Dahlin being the elite guy that we thought he could be? How quickly can Owen Power get up to speed? Yeah, you have to figure out something in net. It's like still a ton of question marks, not unlike that Avs team the year after the 48-point season, but they've got stuff to build on. And you got a guy scoring goals like Tage Thompson. It helps.
You just want to see it. It'd be good for the league, I think.
It'd be great.
That's going to do it for the hockey show. I'm gonna leave everyone with a thought more than a discussion here. I saw a tweet. I don't know the entire accuracy of it or not, but Connor McDavid has 40 goals and 60 assists in his last 55 games. Just think about that. It's insane. That's hockey insanity.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for the hockey show. Ryan Bolding, thank you for listening. Danny Bailey behind the glass. Jesse Montaño. I almost did. I made the whole show without going back to the wrong one.
But you corrected it before you officially finished the word.
Jesse Montaño of DNVR. Yep. Thank you for joining us.
No, dude, thanks for having me. This was fun. I was bummed when I just looked up the clock and saw that it was already past
Cruise
1.
by.
Yeah.
Cruise by. 100 points in 55 games. Connor McDavid.
Unbelievable.
But you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home.
Mile High Sports is KQKS HD3 Lakewood, 98.1 K251 CV Golden, and streaming 24/7 at milehighsports.com.
Hey gang, it's Nate Lundy, and for years I've been telling you about my friends Dave and Mark at Key Real